All right, welcome back. Now, as the holy month of Ramadan is coming to an end and Sallah celebrations is drawing nearer, this morning we'll be discussing the lessons of this great month after the reflective exercise prescribed to become mindful of Allah and the people to adhere to this practice to feel closer to the Almighty Allah. Now, today in the studio, we have the Imam of Abuja National Mosque, Dr. Muhammad Kabir, with us to actually, share with us the lessons learned from the Ramadan. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Daybreak.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, so Imam, now just as the question is, what are the blessings and the lessons learned to be learned from the Ramadan?
Thank you very much. Ramadan fast is a period earmarked by Islam for every Muslim to fast for the period of 1 month. First of all, the fasting originated after the revelation of the Holy Quran to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. The revelation took place in the month of Ramadan, so some scholars of the view that the Ramadan fast is for people to show their gratitude and gratefulness to the Almighty for revealing the Quran in this period. So lesson number 1 is to show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for sparing our life throughout the year. So today we are now fasting, at least to show our gratitude to Him. That is 1. 2, God in His infinite mercy commanded us to fast because it has been commanded nations before us to fast. Let me say it is coincide. Jewish finished their own Passover early this week. Christians finishes their Lent last week when they had Easter. Muslims are ending their fasting this week. So you can see it coincide. We were told that all the people that came before Muhammad, they were asked to fast. That is why in Christianity they have Lent. In Jewish they have Passover. So fasting is there. As long as the religion is originated from heaven, from God, definitely in that religion there must be fasting. So this is 1. Fasting remains an avenue that unites the entire humanity. You can see every Muslim across the globe must to fast. Whether you are man or woman, young or aged, you will fast. So fasting is an avenue of uniting the entire humanity, as I mentioned. So this is also one of the benefit of fasting to the entire humanity. Another point, when in the society, people are not the same. Some are poor, some are rich. So the rich people doesn't know, or they have no experience of hunger or whatever, because they have money to buy all what they need. But the poor person experience hunger sometimes because he don't even have money to buy. So God in His mercy make it obligatory upon everybody to fast. Whether you are rich, you are poor, you are leader, you are president, you are governor, you are traditional ruler, whatever position you held in the society, when it comes to fasting, you have to fast so that you too will experience the agony of thirst, hunger, so that you will now have, or you now change your thinking over poor people, so that you always, at least once in a year, experience what they are having in their own life. So that will give you chance to understand their situation and come to their aid. So this is something very, very important to the life of Muslims as well as everybody across the globe. So Ramadan fast also go and bring, let me say, Ramadan fast bring people to be closer to each other. When it is in the evening, when we are going to break the fast, you see many people coming to a particular place, for example, mosque, to break their fast. Let me cite an example of the National Mosque here in Abuja. You see more than 1,000 people came to break their fast there because they know with or without money, at least you can have free food to break your fast. So Alhamdulillah, this is very important. So it is very, very significant to Muslims that we fast throughout the month of Ramadan.
Okay. You have made some quite an instructive revelation about what needs to be done, how this came about and all. But there is always the question about the virtues that are prescribed during this Ramadan. You've talked about sharing, good neighborliness, and feeling pains and all of that. Should these be virtues that are only confined to the Ramadan period? Should we not be seeing these kind of virtues in our everyday life, especially for Nigeria, given how we seem to have been divided along ethnic lines over the years?
So that is why at least in every year we'll now experience the Ramadan fast, so that we'll now know, yes, in life sometimes somebody has to make sacrifices for the interest of all, for peace to reign, for peaceful coexistence. You have to make some sacrifices. For example, look at the period of Ramadan. Somebody who has all what it takes, he has the money, he has everything, but he has to abstain from eating, drinking, or sexual intercourse from the dawn to the sunset. So he was able to do that as a sacrifice between him and his creator. So if you learn to do that, then you are expected to do the same in or outside Ramadan. So even after Ramadan, we are expected to continue with Ramadan's virtues, so that the whole society will be good for everybody. The atmosphere will be very, very nice for everybody, because we are all brothers, or I can say we are all keepers of our brothers. So we will now respect our neighbors, because your neighbor can be everybody. You see, Islam is not about tribalism or sectionalism or whatever. No, as far as Islam is concerned, every human beings are one and from the same source. So God says, Ya ayyuhan nas, O you mankind, inna khalaqanakum min dhakarin wa untha. We created you from a single male and female. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلًا, and we made you into different nations and tribes. لِتَعَارَفُوا, so for you to understand yourselves. So for example, if you say, okay, I am a Biram by tribe, then you can identify me as that. While you are Fulani, so you can be identified as Fulani. While this man is an Igbo man, he can be identified as an Igbo man. So being whatever tribe you are, make no any significant but just for you to be identified. That is how Islam look at things. So in the sight of Allah, are you good? Yes, so you are good. So that's why Allah says, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The best of you beside Allah is the pious, somebody who is good. somebody who make anything to help his fellow human beings. So all this virtue must to continue even after Ramadan. In fact, that is the lessons of Ramadan.
All right, now, Imam, what does Islam actually say about those who even eat more during iftar?
Iftar is not about too much eating. Iftar is about you eating something so that you keep the life going. But if after reaching that time of breaking the fast, you eat so much, then you defeat the aims and objectives of Ramadan fast is defeated.
So it's not a make-up food for what you have sacrificed.
No. Because eating too much food is problem. According to the medical personnel, they said eating too much food will harm your health. While our Prophet ﷺ said, Sumu tasihu, you fast and you will be healthy. So if fasting is for health, for you being healthy, then there is no need for you to eat too much, because eating too much food, you won't be healthy. So Ramadan is not for hunger, and it is not for eating too much food. It is a sacrifice you make to show your gratefulness to your Creator, who give you all the life you are enjoying.
So there are also debates about what happens to people who miss some days of Ramadan and they have to pass on within that period. What obligations lie for their family under that circumstance?
There are so many categories of people who will miss Ramadan fast. Let me start with those who departed. When somebody dies in the period of Ramadan, he is doing his fasting and suddenly he dies due to some things that is only God knows. That man dies, so his chapter is closed. Whoever dies, his chapter is closed. So nobody will pay anything on his behalf. He has done his own time, that's the end of it. There are others who miss Ramadan fast due to some reasons or excuses. For example, somebody wake up, he felt sick, and that sickness prevented him from continue with his fast. So, which means he lost that day. So he will now count the number of days he was unable to fast. Then after Ramadan, he will now pay back due to sickness. Or somebody who was on a journey. For example, somebody traveling from Abuja to Kano, from Abuja to Lagos, Abuja to Enugu, something like that nature. You know, as far as Islam is concerned, journey is not an easy thing. So somebody fasting was given excuse, so he can stop fasting on that very day, then he will now pay it after Ramadan. So these are the things concerning for those who were excused from fasting due to certain reasons. For women also were excused from fasting in the period of their monthly menstruation. During that period, they cannot fast, they cannot pray. They were excused from that. But after Ramadan, they will now count the number they miss and pay it back. But for the daily prayers, they were excused for that. God says they don't need to pay anything. They will be given the same reward as they pray, because God is the one who made them that way. So that is why he excuses them from that.
All right, so what is the significance of Zakat al-Fitr and who must give it?
Zakat al-Fitr is obligatory in accordance with the prophetic saying and practice. Prophet of Islam, Muhammad himself pay the Zakat al-Fitr. Zakat al-Fitr is obligatory on the head of the family. The head of the family will now pay for himself, for his wife, for his children, and anybody that is under his care. He is the one to pay for them. And somebody who is alone, he can now pay for himself. These are the people who are to pay. And the Zakat al-Fitr, it is on even the new baby born. As long as he was born today and the Sallah is tomorrow, then the parent will pay for him.
So, but what is exactly Zakat al-Fitr?
Zakat al-Fitr is like almsgiving, but this time around you are to give out some food items. That is what we call prophetic measure. You now use your hand like this, fill it up with either rice, corn, or whatever food that you are eating in your locality. Take it like this 4 times of your full hand. 4 times of your full hand is for one person. So you give out this for yourself and for other also the same amount of food items. In a situation where you are not residing in your home, for example, you travel to another country where you don't have this kind of practices, for example, then you can pay. Then you monetize it and pay. For example, in Abuja today, when I ask the people selling rice in the market, they measure it is around 1,800 naira per one person. So you can convert it to money to that amount and pay. That is the Zakat al-Fitr.
Sorry, just before, when exactly is the right time to actually give out?
The right time for paying Zakat al-Fitr is 2 days to Sallah. 2 days, 1 day, then on Sallah day before going to the Eid ground. That is the right time for paying the Zakat. The essence is for you to give out that food to the needy person who doesn't have anything in his house. At least on Sallah day he now have something to cook for his family.
Okay, Imam, there's this question that has been bothering a lot of people, maybe those of us who are not very informed. We see that usually the fasting starts by sunrise to sunset. But we know in other climes, in some countries, in fact, the sun doesn't set until about 9, 10 in the night. Are they supposed to endure? Some Nigerians travel to those places maybe for studies or meetings, and you show up in a place and by 9 o'clock the sun is still shining. What is the significance of that? Are you supposed to endure until sunset, which is just like 4 hours before the sun rises
Let
again?
me even cite an examples in the countries of Europe. Most European countries, they have this kind of issues. Sometimes you can fast only 4 or 5 hours. It finish, and sometimes it changes.
Yeah.
You now fast for the period of 18 hours.
18 hours.
Yes, you have to do it. Those who are living there, they fast for that period, no problem.
So if you're a Nigerian who fasts for less, and by providence or some national assignment you show up there, it becomes your lot immediately.
Exactly, you have to fast in accordance to that time. Yes.
All right, so Imam, let's talk about this. Now, a lot of people are asking questions if it's right for people to pay for millions of naira, for Umrah during the Ramadan when people around them are hungry. What do you have to say about that?
You see, Islam is very clear on what to do with your own money. The money is yours. You are at liberty to spend what you have in accordance to what you need or what you wishes. Going for Umrah in Ramadan is special. Assisting the needy also is special. The two are sacred. The two are rewardable. So it depends. Some people have a lot of money. They can render assistance to others, and at the same time, they can go for Umrah and come back. You see, Umrah benefit the entire humanity. When you go to Kaaba, offer special prayer for yourself, for your family, for your neighbors. At the same time, you now pray for the entire country. God give you assurance that he will answer that prayer. So, if you have the opportunity to do so, I can even say in flight, you assisted the entire citizens of the country because you pray for the whole country. So God accepts the prayers. In one thing or the other, you may not know, but that prayer will affect the life of every Nigerian. So in this aspect, you can see, even for you to go for Umrah, you assisted the entire citizens of this country. This is one part. In another part, if you converted the money that you are used to go for Umrah, you now convert it to give assistance to the rest privileges in the country. That one also is there, and the reward is going to be more for you. So the two are accepted as far as Islam is concerned.
Okay, Imam, there is this other question that seems to generate debate every time it comes up. The question is sitting on two tripods. One of them is on sponsorship of people to Umrah. I would like to know what reward comes with that. But the second leg of the question is the one that is a bit controversial. It's where we see state governments also sponsoring people to Umrah. Is it a practice that is right? Should we take public funds to execute this? Or, like you rightly mentioned, is it because of the prayers that are offered for the nation that makes it justifiable? I would like your thoughts on that.
Let me start with the first questions. Sponsoring somebody for Umrah. Let me add for Umrah or Hajj. Yeah. It is allowed for people to sponsor others to go for this religious obligatory. Though Islam is very clear, Hajj and Umrah are compulsory upon somebody who can afford. If you don't have the means, then it is not obligatory on you. So if somebody wanted to sponsor you, there are certain conditions that has to be fulfilled. One, for you to sponsor somebody to go for Hajj or Umrah, you must provide for him what he will leave for his family throughout the period that he will now be in absentia. So if that exercise will take him at least 1 month, then you have to make provision for at least 40 days so that he will now go and come back and get his family healthy. That is the condition. Not just you now go and pay for the ticket and the hotel accommodation there and leave him alone. No. If you do that to me, I will accept. But from there, I will not go there. I will now go and convert the money to buy food to my family. Because if you give me, it has become mine. In Islam, when somebody gives you anything, that thing he gives you becomes your own. And you have the right to spend it the way you want it. That is Islam. So, yes, it's allowed for somebody to sponsor others, but let him do it well, so that he will not introduce somebody to another problem. No, that is one. Number two is the issue of, can you repeat it?
Having government
using government fund. You see, in Nigeria, we have two religions. We have Islam and we have Christianity. The federal government establishes two commissions, Hajj Commission and Christians Pilgrimage Commission. By saying so, we understand that government make it official to run these two commissions, the Hajj Commission and the the Christian Pilgrimage Commission. Let me say something here. We have a football club owned by the nation, like Super Eagles. Other sports, when Super Eagles or Nigerian basketball or Nigerian whatever game, Olympic Games, for example, or all African Games, for example, you see federal government spending the public fund to sponsor Nigerians who will now go and compete in that games. Why? Because they carry the name of Nigeria into that. The same way and manner, Muslims who are going for Mecca or Christians who are going to Jerusalem, they also carry the name of what? Nigeria to that area. Even though that area is religious, is sacred, but it is Nigerians who are going out. If more than 100 of Nigerians going out to do something, Nigerian government has to be there to protect the interests of these hundreds of Nigerians. Because wherever Nigerians are, they fall under the responsibility of Nigerian government. This is one. Number two, as far as I knew, it is not going to be easy for the state government or federal government to just pay money for somebody going for either Hajj or Umrah or Jerusalem, just like that. No. Those whom you are seeing, most of them are going to serve the pilgrims that went there. So, for example, when the Christians are going to Jerusalem, definitely federal government has to send some delegations, some officials who are going to take care of them there. The same way and manner, when Muslims are traveling for Mecca to perform pilgrimage, definitely they will be assigned some officials who now look after them. And at the same time, one thing that people doesn't understand, pilgrims who are paying their money to go for this exercise, if you look at that money they pay almost all the services. They pay all, in fact, with some commission that will go to the side of government. So government use most of them to do this kind of services.
Just a quick follow-up. You talked about if somebody needs to sponsor someone, then he also has to provide for what that person would give his family for the period he's away. For individuals who are saving to go, is it also obligatory on them to provide for their families while they are away? And for those who get state sponsorship, is the state supposed to also provide for their family while they are away?
For example, as I mentioned, concerning the state sponsorship, it's not sponsorship, it's for those who are going to work.
Okay.
So if you are going to work, definitely the system provides provide for you some allowances. Okay. Of course, you can use that allowance to share between yourself and your family. So that one is taken care of from there. But for somebody who, let me say, somebody starts saving, he has intention of going for Hajj, so he started saving. The law says you cannot go for Hajj until when you are assured of what you have, it will be okay for you and your family at home. If not, then you cannot go. So that is why Allah says, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. God make it compulsory upon people to go for the pilgrimage, but for those who can afford it. Under this word, affordability, scholars made mention that affordability means you yourself, you have to cater for yourself all what you need that will take you to and fro. And you have to make provision for your family at home. And the road you are going or you are following, it has to be free. It has to be safe. So all these conditions has to be fulfilled before you even start the journey for Hajj.
Okay. Now, Imam, actually, I think I have two questions before we wrap up. Now, the first one is, in the month of Ramadan, how important is self-introspection for a Muslim? And also, the final one is, now that Ramadan is actually winding up, what's next for the Muslim?
Let me start for the last one. When Ramadan ends, Muslims were expected to fast 6 days after Ramadan. We call it Sittu Shawwal, 6 days of Shawwal, to fast additional 6 days. So all in all, you have 30 or 29 days, and you have additional 6. If you multiply it in accordance with the reward given on each fasting, you have the reward of the whole year. That's what the prophetic saying says about it. Secondly, for somebody to fast for a day, the reward will give him chance to go far, far, far away from the hellfire. At least the distance between him and the hellfire will be a journey of 70 years. Journey of 70 years. Looking at this from here where we are, if you head east, you can reach China. You continue up to Japan, and you continue from Japan, you continue up to United States of America and come back here within that 70 years. You can do so. Yeah, of course, that will not take you more than 20 years to do that, even if you are working on your foot. Which means if you fast 30 days or 29th days plus this, it means the whole hellfire will not be close at you, no matter what, because you now have thousands of years distance. Of course, so you are safe. That's the meaning. So it is very, very important for somebody to do that. And after Ramadan, after that, we have some fastings again. After that Sittu Shawwal, we have 9 days in the month of Dhul Hijjah, that is the month of Hajj. After it, we have the fasting of 9 and 10th of the first month of an Islamic calendar. We call it Al-Muharram. That is Ashura and Tasu'a. After that, we have the fast of 3 days in every month. After that, we have the fasting of every Monday and Thursday. So somebody may choose what he can do. At the end of it, in every month, if you cannot do the 3 days, or you cannot do the Monday and Thursday, you can fast at least 1 day in every month. All these are after Ramadan. Of course, the lessons learned from Ramadan period, it has to be continue even after Ramadan. That is kindness, doing good to the neighbor, assisting others, being patient, perseverance, making sacrifices for others. All this has to continue. That is peaceful coexistence as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Imam. We have been speaking with the Imam of the Abuja National Mosque, Dr. Mohammed Kabir, who has provided us very useful insight about the Ramadan and what is expected of the Muslim Ummah before and after the Ramadan, and indeed all year round. And of course, he talks to us about what virtues we should carry out, we should continue with after this holy month of Ramadan. I want to thank you very much for making it to the studio and sharing with our audience all this useful information. And we hope hopefully after the Ramadan, we will find time to sit again and discuss other issues as it will affect and improve godliness as a people in Nigeria. Thank you once again for coming.
Thank you very much.
And I hope we have been able to bring you very useful information today. We thank you for, as always, allowing us free access into your living room. We will do this again tomorrow. I am Sunday Michael Ogu.
And I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. Have a wonderful day.